Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the October 6th Gulf Shore City Council Work Session meeting. Glad everyone's here and talk about some things today and we'll vote on next Monday. So if you have any questions during the process, just raise your hand, come up to the microphone, let us hear from you. First item on the agenda is my discussion period, and I will defer any other addition today. Next item, John's got some report on our grant program recipients.
Thank you. We had, before you is the 2025 Fall Nonprofit Grant Program recipients. We're asking council to approve the allocation of $10,000 in grant funding through the Nonprofit Grants Program to 5 organizations. Each organization would receive $2,000 to support community-focused public benefit initiatives as outlined in their applications. We did have 19 applicants for this grant program. All were very good. Some did not meet the qualifications, but they were all very good applicants with worthy causes. However, we had $10,000 to give in this round, and so we are recommending these organizations: the Christian Service Center to provide emergency assistance, including food, housing, medical care, and transportation for residents in crisis; the Sea Glass Initiative to support transportation services for unhoused and vulnerable residents, enabling access to medical care, employment, shelter, and stability; Gulf Coast Arts Alliance to provide community art education and cultural outreach through public workshops, exhibitions, and events; Feeding the Gulf Coast to provide funds for the mobile food pantry and school backpack program; and the South Baldwin Literacy Council to provide adult literacy and ESL instruction, helping residents improve reading, writing, and communication skills. Each of these would receive $2,000, which would be the total of the $10,000 that are allocated in the budget this year for the Nonprofit Grants Program. We would have, or we plan to have, another round of applications in the spring, and then another in the fall of next year.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comments from council, anyone in the audience? Some well-deserving organizations, a great opportunity to support our local nonprofits, and hopefully those that submitted that were not selected will submit for the next round. Next, we have Jesse with our airport.
Good afternoon, Council. Tonight, I have before you, this is not what I'm proposing. This is a different slide. So what I have before you here is an airport infrastructure grant. It's called the AIG grant in the amount of $448,150. This has no budget implications to the city, and standard FA grant. There we go. That's the one I'm proposing. Standard grant conditions apply. This was for card readers, eligible terminal expenses for our terminal project, and I recommend ratifying and accepting the grant funding. And I'm open to any questions.
Any questions, council, audience? It's always good to get those kind of grants. Thank you for your work on that.
Thank you. Appreciate
Jesse.
it.
Next, we have Clinton. You've got a few projects for us to discuss.
Yes, I got several for you today. So the first one is to authorize the mayor to sign off on a couple of electrical easements for Baldwin EMC. So the first one, during the course of the Waterway East Improvements Project, the city's been having conversations with Baldwin EMC about going underground with all the electrical down through there. And in order to do that, they do need a 10-foot easement across several properties, one of those being the city's property. And then that's a 10-foot easement along the edge of Waterway East on the north side. And then the second easement I've got is for the high school property, so that Baldwin EMC can access the property to maintain and install the electrical services as needed for the new high school. And so the two properties are shown right here. So the one on the left, that's on Waterway East. That's the very southern tip of the airport property. You can see the parking area on the left-hand side, which is Saunders overflow parking. And so that one, it's the 10-foot right along Waterway East. And then the one on the high school property, it's not a defined area. It's just basically access as needed to get to their equipment. And so no budget implications, and staff recommends authorizing the mayor to execute these two easements. And be glad to answer any questions for you.
Okay, thanks, Clint. Any questions for Clint on these two easements?
I have one question, and it's not so much about this easement. It's on that Waterway East project. On the south side of that road, the multipurpose trail is a really wide trail and a really good trail, and looks like it will be utilized a lot as that develops down there. However, there are a couple places close to Saunders that have transformers kind of located right in the middle of the multipurpose path, as well as some poles that are right in the middle of the multipurpose path. And I'm not sure what happened there, or if there's a fix, or what the options that we have at this time to improve that, because right now they have like orange barrels in front of the transformer, in front of the poles, and it's just really not an ideal solution.
Well, so that's what these easements are to help us clean up. So we get, if we get the easements, we've got to get a couple more from some of the other property owners, and then those lines are going to be located on the north side. And so then those will go away.
Okay,
And get those out of the trail.
Okay, great. Thank you. Perfect.
Good. Thank you, Jason. All right, Clint, what you got next?
All right. The next one is a supplemental services agreement for barge design solutions in an amount not to exceed $35,000. So the city contracted with Barge in 2024 for the design of phase 1 of the Waterway West Boulevard project, which is, the design's 90% complete now, and we're in the process of getting AlDOT approval for the intersection. And during that design process, we found some conflicts with some water and sewer mains within the footprint of the new project, and that was not originally in Barge's scope. So as part of the amended agreement, Barge will design the relocated utility crossings for 1 water main and 2 sewer mains, and then Barge will also include the bid phase services needed for bidding and awarding the construction contract, and for adding the 1B portion as an additive alternate. So that's a little bit extra work for them. So all that's included in this $35,000. And just for reference here, this is the new sketch of the intersection. There's a lot of information here, but so you got 59 running north-south right there in the center of the screen, and you can see the shaded out area is the existing street. That's the West First Street, that we got the 90-degree turn that goes straight south. So that will all be going away, and you can see the new alignment there. So the whole intersection is shifting to the south about 50 feet or so. And so these funds are going to be included in the professional services of the project budget. Next year's budget, it's going to be account number 42879655515, and we have known these were coming for a while. So staff recommends approval of the supplement for $35,000, and be glad to answer any questions.
Thanks, Clint. Phase 1, does that go all the way to the roundabout north of Legendary Marine?
No, so right now, phase 1, the base bid is going to go just to the west of the hotels, and then the alternate then is to go the rest of the way. So it's going to be included in the bid, and the design is included in what Barge is doing, but we're going to have everything past the hotels as an alternate.
Yeah, that was my question. I'm sorry. The design.
The design,
from Barge goes.
yes.
Phase 1 of the design is to the roundabout
It's to the roundabout and then to the south.
and then down to the south. Okay. And I assume we looked at entire route of Phase 1 design, and what utility locations that we have found in conflict is all we anticipate.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions for Clint on this item? Anybody from the audience? Thank you, Clint. Next.
All right, the next one I've got is a professional services proposal from Jade Consulting for the Restore AlDOT Capacity 4 South project in the amount of $728,990. And so a little bit of background, back in 2018, we were awarded the Restore grants to increase capacity and enhance efficiency between Highway 59 and Foley Beach Express. And that consisted of two projects, 4 North, which is the Waterway East project, and then 4 South, which is Canal Road East. And then the Canal Road project then had 2 components itself. The first was to secure the right-of-way for the long-term reroute, taking Canal Road south of the Gulf Pines neighborhood, which is still underway. We're still working to get that right-of-way, doing the right-of-way swap. And then this project will improve existing intersections, construct complete streets, and provide additional access management in the Waterway Village area. And this includes utility relocations and roadway construction along approximately 4,000 linear feet of existing roadway in the Waterway Village area. And the staff sent out an RFQ over the summer. We got a few responses, and Jade Consulting was ranked as the most qualified team and chosen by the selection committee. And we have received this proposal from them for the amount of $728,990. And this was just a conceptual sketch that we had put in the RFQ documents, just kind of to give them something to go off of. But basically going from Canal Road, down 3rd Street, down 2nd Street, and then the connections between the two to improve access and install as much parking as possible in the area and that whole thing. But so this was just kind of an illustrative thing. So this will change once they get in there and get their survey done and get their conceptual design submitted to us. And so these funds, we have $400,000 budgeted in this year's budget for these design costs, and the remainder will be in the 26 budget, and it'll be a different account next year, that 42 account. And just a reminder, the Restore grant is just under $8 million for the construction of the project. But so staff recommends authorizing the mayor to approve the contract in an amount not to exceed $728,990, and be glad to answer any questions you have on this one.
Any questions from the council? Anybody in the audience? Yes, ma'am. Sure, come on up. Hello.
My name is Marina Krishmarjankar, and I'm one of the property owners next to the path you guys proposed. And actually, I really like that new parking you guys put right next to my property. It's really neat. The only problem is that whoever put it did not think that it's used to be a ditch, and now the water collects there, and it all goes and drains into my property. So I hope you guys can go back or get a consultant and somebody who knows how to do the roads and make it correctly. So the water is actually, it used to be like, right where the news, those 7 parking spots are, it used to be just a deep ditch. And now those are parking spots, and the water has nowhere to go but to drain into my gate. And
So we will include that in the survey and the design on this project, and but we'll get out there in the short term and see what we can do.
just also, I do not want that big giant hole right next to the gate, because during the constructions and the new utilities get through, actually the pipe, which is a drainage pipe under my own driveway, was damaged, so it's cracked. And obviously, it's not fixed. And again, I truly do not want a big hole right there for all of that, dirty water to connect, because we do plan to reopen their hotel shortly. It's going to be something like what we have in Magnolia in Foley. The Gulf Shores Inn will kind of like take the place of Magnolia of Foley. We plan all those beautiful, like seaside, clean Mediterranean grounds. And I also saw on their city survey for the parking, I saw that somebody include my private, big, square green area there as being a private parking. It's not a private parking. We plan to have kind of like botanical garden, grounds there, and working on the plants. We actually, a couple of years ago, we brought a lot of beautiful exotic plants. They all died during the cold winter time. But again, so it's not a parking lot. Don't think it is. It's going to be a beautiful, and Gulf Shores needs something nice and attractive like this. A little, I understand it's going to be high density, like real entertainment area, which is, I think Gulf Shores will benefit of something like that. But again, don't plan on making it into a parking lot. It's not going to. It's going to be a beautiful grounds. The other thing is, my background is I'm an architect, and I was thinking about their completely underutilized, that beautiful, amazing area, which we have right here, which is the canal. We have, it's right next to the city hall. Those two roads, which leads you to the city hall. That could become a really amazing promenade. Like they have something in Pensacola where all we need to do, we just need to cover the ditch, and that middle can become a space for their, little pavilions for people to bring their crafts or to have some kind of meetings, bring a nice city lighting. There is a lot of, I'm an architect, there is a lot of space to make that thing in an absolutely amazing area for like city center. And I think Gulf Shores lacks it. If anybody interested, I can make some nice sketches for this, but I do want to get paid. So if you can spare a couple of bucks, I promise you to make a really nice design for that. And again, it can actually lock that and round up that whole area of their 180. And the back over there. The Gulf Shores will get a city center, like that really interesting area where tourists would like to come and walk. And parking wise, I think if you guys are going to develop all of those parking spots along at all of those streets there, we're going to have plenty of parking for everybody. So.
Right.
That's all, but I'm really concerned about the drainage right now, those rains, and I'm swimming on my driveway, and I hope you guys are going to put some kind of pipe underneath that parking for now.
Thank you. We do have that in the plan, but thank you for
Think
your
about it,
comments.
yeah.
We appreciate
But again, also think about that promenade area, because it's really going to make Gulf Shores amazing.
Good comments. Thank you. Anyone else on this item? Okay, Clint, you got one more?
Yes, one more. So also back to Waterway West, this is regarding right-of-way acquisition that we need from several property owners in order for the construction of Waterway West Boulevard. And so again, we contracted with Barge last year for the design, and the city also contracted with Engineering Design Group for survey and right-of-way acquisition services. And we've completed all the surveys and the appraisals for the properties in question. And I've got a map here. So with us realigning that intersection, there's basically 4 properties that are pieces of property that we need. So on the east side, you can see that one just south of the track. And then on the west side, you've got the portion of the parking lot there at the Beach Bum Outdoors, and then the 2 hotels there. And that's the appraised values listed there. And so the funds for these acquisitions are included in the project budget in 25 and then the remainder in 26. And so what this resolution will do is to authorize the mayor to negotiate and accept contract purchase agreements between the property owners and the city of Gulf Shores for the purchase of real property to be utilized for public right-of-way in an amount not to exceed just over $1 million.
Okay,
That's
thanks.
a big glad to answer any questions if you have.
Thanks, Clint. Any questions for Clint on these right-of-way purchases? Anybody from the audience? Okay, thank you, Clint. Appreciate you working on those items.
Thanks.
Anna? Taxi franchise?
Yes, sir. Before you for consideration is a taxi franchise request by Ms. Maureen Esposito, who's the owner of Jersey Taxi LLC. She is requesting a franchise to operate a 2019 GMC Acadia, and she has met all of the requirements, including paying the unrefundable $250 application fee. And if approved, she will pay the $200 franchise fee and obtain a business license to operate, as well as the $25 permitting fee. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions on the taxi franchise? Anyone in the audience? Thank you, Anna. Tanya? Employee benefits brokerage service.
Good evening, Council. On behalf of the Human Resources Department, we are requesting transition of our benefit brokerage services from McGriff to CAC. This change will not disrupt any current benefits, but will provide some additional assistance and services to Human Resources. Staff conducted a review, and just to be sure that the city is receiving the best value and support. And on September the 3rd, we presented 3 benefit options to the Finance Committee, which they selected to move forward with CAC. There will be no budget implications for this change, so I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, comments? Very proactive presentation, I think could offer some good benefits to us all. Any questions from the audience? Thank you, Tanya. Andy, you've got a few items for us, some rezonings and annexations.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, City Council. I do have three items. First being a annexation application. Mr. Aaron Wiegert, who owns the property at 22138 Creek Road, seeks to annex his property. It's currently developed with a mobile home. It's also currently zoned rural agricultural in Baldwin County. So if this property is annexed, it'll automatically be zoned agricultural zoning district within the city limits of Gulf Shores. The reason for the annexation request is to have access to the city school system. And I've got a few maps here showing where 22138 Creek Road is. It's located north of Cotton Creek Drive, highlighted in blue. And it does comply with the annexation criteria because it abuts existing city limits. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen, and there's a photograph of the existing mobile home. Happy to answer any questions.
And the adjoining property parcel, how is that zoned?
I believe it's also AG.
It's AG as well?
Yes, sir.
So not much change in the county zoning to our AG zoning?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions for Andy on this application? Okay, you have another?
Yes. Two more. The first one is ZA 2527. It is an application from Mr. David Kelly. He seeks to rezone 5 properties located on County Road 6 to general business zoning district. Property is located just north of the Plash Island Bridge. You can see the properties proposed for annexation are highlighted in blue on the screen. 2 of the properties are currently zoned R4. The other 3 properties are zoned R14. View of the existing condition of the property. The 2 R4 properties are currently undeveloped. There is a single-family dwelling on one of the R14 zoned properties. The 2 other R14 properties are undeveloped. So the existing zoning, again, is R4 for the 2 northernmost properties. R4 is a multifamily zoning district that allows 20 units per acre and typically is developed with multifamily dwelling units such as condominiums or apartments. The 3 southern properties proposed for rezoning are currently zoned R14. R14 is a single-family zoning district. It is worth noting on the map on the right-hand side of the screen, the property in between the two areas proposed for to be rezoned is currently zoned general business. It's developed with this proposed Shipwreck Kelly's retail restaurant business, as well as 4137 was rezoned by the city council to general business earlier this year. Mr. Kelly does own all of the properties involved in the rezoning request, as well as the existing general business zoned properties. All of the properties proposed for rezoning are also within the Plash Island Bonsco River Overlay District. This overlay district restricts building heights, densities, and allowable uses on the property. The proposed general business zoning district allows a range of retail, commercial uses. It's kind of a medium density and intensity business zoning district. Most of the business is located south of the Intracoastal Waterway along Highway 59 or zone general business, to give you an example of what general business allows. The land use plan designates this property as a commercial mixed-use activity center. Basically recommends this area of the city to develop in a commercial type manner to serve the surrounding residential houses in this area of the city. There's really not a lot of commercial zoning out there currently. The proposed rezoning does support the goal of the land use plan to develop as a commercial mixed-use activity center. And then the BG zoning will allow for non-residential uses that are compatible with the surrounding residential community, mainly because it's also within the Flash Island Bon Secours River Overlay District, which restricts a lot of the more intense uses allowed by that BG zoning district. So with that, staff and the Planning Commission recommend the City Council to approve the rezoning of the property to general business. This application will not come up next month. We do have to advertise it for, I believe, 22 days. So it'll probably come up in November for a public hearing. Be happy to answer any questions.
Andy, is the density and height allowed in our BG zoning more restrictive than the overlay district?
So let's see. So BG does not allow non-residential uses. So I think like no residential uses are allowed by right. So, and I think, let's see, multifamily is currently allowed by conditional use permit with 20 units per acre. Flash Island Overlay District restricts it to 15 dwelling units per acre.
And what about the height?
BG is 8 stories. Flash Island Overlay District allows more stories than that, so the BG would be the lesser of the two in that instance.
Okay.
But again, a lot of those, most of the more intense uses allowed in BG are not allowed by the Flash Island Bon Secours River Overlay District. And I think it kind of mirrors the BN regulations. Is my recollection. I don't have my zoning orders with me, but I can get you answers on that specifically before the public hearing.
I'm just thinking, as we're approaching the single-family uses, even though they're unzoned in the county and can do more, that do we want to take the more restrictive height approach and not allow the greater height in that? So I guess, I mean, if we want to consider a conditional rezoning,
You most certainly can. But I'll get you an answer on those questions to the whole city council.
Am I correct in recalling that the general business does not allow multifamily by right?
That's correct.
Okay, so the density, I imagine the height would be directly related to a multifamily development. I can't envision another project that would exceed that kind of height that wasn't multifamily,
a hotel,
other than a hotel.
which would not be multifamily.
Yeah.
And would a hotel be allowed?
Hotel is
By right?
allowed. It is allowed in general business. I'd have to double check the Flash Island Overlay District to see if it's more restrictive, but I can get you the answer on that.
Okay. I mean, I am generally in favor of this being a nidus of commercial activity, but I think it needs to be neighborhood business. And we don't particularly need a 8-story hotel there or any kind of multifamily development there. I think it needs to be neighborhood commercial out there as to service the local community out there and not be, a multi-level development personally.
Yes, sir. And I believe in speaking with the applicant, his plan is to use the 2 northernmost lots kind of as some associated use with the restaurant. He'd like to kind of expand the restaurant. And then the southernmost lots, he doesn't really have a concrete plan for those, maybe some type of mixed-use development in the future to support the whole development, but I don't think any of it's 100% in concrete. So
When this comes back up, can we, I think Philip asked this question, but can we do a conditional
Yes, sir.
rezoning based on that and put restrictions on it so that any fears that we have for overdevelopment or inappropriate development, or, you know, I understand the owner of the property probably has certain plans, but sometimes owners of property sell the property and the next owner doesn't share that opinion. So I'm in favor of it being zoned appropriately for neighborhood business, but I would like to have it conditioned personally so that we, protect the neighborhoods that are out there.
The piece that's R4, that allows 4-story or 6-story?
4 stories.
4-story?
20 units per acre. Yes, sir.
So that's what it is currently, and the R4 is a 4-story maximum height.
This is not gonna lay within the approach to the airport that would restrict the height, would it?
I don't know for sure. Anything that's above 50 feet, we require them to get a FAA Form 7460 at the time of like site plan application. So if they did propose something that's taller than 50 feet, it would have to go through that process and be approved by the FAA.
I think it's.
I would assume it's outside of, well, it may be in the, I know Jesse's here, but, or he was here. It may be in that flight cone, but it goes up.
I
so it may
didn't know
not-
where the actual flight comb and this.
Right.
When it comes
I would
in.
assume it allows
Like
for a
it's south of it,
decent build, probably a taller building height than it sounds like you guys want to allow anyway, so.
But that could restrict the height
Right.
too.
Anyone else? Anyone from the audience on this item? Okay, Andy? You got one more?
Yes, sir. So this is similarly located property, but a different application. It's ZA 2528. This is a pre-zone and annexation request by Mr. David Kelly. Mr. Kelly does not own this property. He is just acting as an applicant for this property. This property is located directly north of the previous properties that we just discussed at 4199 County Road 6. And the request is to pre-zone the property to neighborhood business, and if pre-zone, annex it into the city of Gulf Shores. The Code of Alabama allows municipality to pre-zone property prior to annexation. And what that allows is, so he's requested neighborhood business zoning. If the city council doesn't agree to that, then the property's not annexed into the city. This similar process is the rezoning. It goes to planning commission, which it already has occurred, that meeting already has occurred. Then it goes to city council. So this application also will not be on next Monday's agenda. We'll have to advertise it. Again, this property is located directly north of the property we just discussed, there near the intersection of County Road 6 and County Road 4. Currently, this property is vacant and unzoned in Baldwin County. The proposed neighborhood business zoning, zoning district is intended to provide a buffer between basically more intense like general business zoning and single-family residential houses. And it's the type of uses are very restrictive to be able to comply with the surrounding neighborhood residential uses. The land use plan designates this specific property as medium-density residential, but again, it abuts that commercial activity center that we just spoke about. We believe that rezoning this property to neighborhood business will serve as a transition between the BG zoning, if that occurs, and the surrounding unzoned single-family uses north of the property. And again, the BN zoning district greatly restricts the type of commercial uses. For example, only 5,000 square feet of building floor area, unless you get a CUP approval. Operating hours are restricted from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And there's no kind of warehouse or storage yards or industrial type uses allowed in the neighborhood business zoning district. So again, staff believes that the configuration of this property and location complies with the goals and intent of the neighborhood business zoning district. And both staff and the planning commission recommend approval with one condition to limit the potential impact to the single family house located north of the subject property multiple family uses are not allowed. So the BN district does allow multifamily uses at 10 units per acre. We do not think those are appropriate here. And kind of like we discussed at the last application, we believe you should place a condition on this property if it's rezoned. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
And what's the maximum height in BN?
I believe it is two habitable stories.
Anybody have any questions for Andy on this last application? Anybody in the audience? Thanks, Andy. Grant, looks like you get to close this out.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you, Terrence. So we've got a few different items for you this evening. The first is an opportunity. I'm going to go back a little bit in history. The NCAA National Beach Volleyball Championship for 2025 and 2026 was supposed to go out to California. They had issues and brought it back here in 2025, and once again will be here in Gulf Shores in 2026. When we discussed the longer-term contract with NCAA and our partners with the Gulf Shores Orange Beach Tourism for the years 2027 through 2031, we committed to making some improvements as we are growing the sport in Gulf Shores to the site and to the facility. With that, we had the opportunity to speak with Senator Chris Elliott, who had an opportunity to help with some funding to be able to enhance the National Beach Volleyball site because it does affect Alabama and the reputation that we have showing in the beaches on ESPN and all the good that it has done. So working with the NCAA and the event producers, we have identified a improvement to the volleyball site that we think will benefit both the NCAA Volleyball Championship and also other uses here within the city. And so we are asking for permission to purchase, and on the screen you'll see this is a trailer. It's a 330 seat capacity grandstand bleachers that are elevated. And these trailers are somewhat portable, so you roll them in and you push a button and they expand out. On the map in front of you are the location that we anticipate putting these bleachers for the national championship. And the goal is to increase additional general admission and general seating, which then allows us additional seating capacity to be added for the courtside seating and for some of the VIP experiences, et cetera. And so in working with, again, the NCAA, they like this concept. This will give it a little bit more of a championship stadium feel. So these are not inexpensive. To purchase two of these, it's an amount of $260,000. Now, again, one of the benefits for the purchase of these grandstands will be that we can use these for instance, the state track and field championship and football games and other volleyball tournaments. They'll be able to be used throughout the year and then brought to the beach for the national championship. I mentioned Senator Chris Elliott. He was able to acquire $200,000 in supplemental education budget award, which would leave the $60,000 shortfall, and we recommend pulling that from the $190,000 annual appropriation that we will put into our budget each year for the staging of this National Beach Volleyball Championship through 2031. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. There is a little bit of a timeline on this. We need to purchase these soon because they are build to order. And if we want them to be delivered in April of 2026, we have to move fairly quickly, which is why I wanted to bring it to you today. So I'm glad to answer questions.
Grant, I've got one. I know we got wide roads. How wide are these as far as transporting? I know we got signs and different things.
Right, so they'll travel behind a typical F-250 pickup truck and fit within a travel lane. They don't need wide load permits or anything like that.
Okay.
So they're very portable.
Okay.
They're heavy, but they're definitely
Just look
they're
bigger
45
now.
feet long. So really, we would get escorts, but they can handle any kind of roadway that we have here in town.
Technical question about the mechanics and the motors and
Yep.
are they
Battery powered.
Battery powered, generator powered?
Battery powered, you push one button and the whole thing, I had a video, I was going to try to see if I could embed it in the presentation, but it basically just folds open. If you've seen portable stages where they come in a trailer and you push a button and they open and fold out and go up, that's exactly what these are. And they have accommodations for soft, being on grass or being on sand. You know, we'll have to make sure that we do put some additional plywood or something down on the beaches, which we'll do when they come into town. But it's a really good opportunity to increase the seating capacity, enhance the NCAA National Volleyball Championship, have access to these for other purposes, and with a generous $200,000 toward this, it will be a good opportunity for us to purchase something that we desperately need for a $60,000 expense.
We need a good maintenance and servicing plan down there in the beach. That's the one comment I hear year after year at the volleyball at the beach down there is we need more seating, we need more elevated seating. A lot of the seating down there is at grade, and so a very beneficial opportunity, I think.
I assume it's got a manual where you can do it manual with the batteries.
I would assume so, but I do not know.
I wouldn't
But I'll
assume
be
that.
happy to look at that. They do have
Just in
a,
case.
they do have an option for solar battery chargers to be added on to all this, but, you know, we've got Public Works Department that's pretty intuitive and can help with pretty much anything that we would run into, I think.
Things happen.
Joe, it's not a good idea to be offshore with a single motor, is it?
Is it? That's correct. Or one battery.
Or one battery. Any questions for Grant on the bleachers? Okay, Grant, what else you got?
So next is an annual request. The 2026 Winter Concert Series, which is the Erie H. Meyer Civic Center's shows that we put on in January and February. This year's shows are scheduled for January 26th and 27th, February 2nd and 3rd, February 9th and 10th. These are Mondays and Tuesdays. It's an opportunity for us to hire bands and performers to come to town. We sell tickets to these shows. They're usually very well attended, but we need to ask your permission to have the mayor authorized to enter into contracts now so that we can put the deposits down on the entertainers and start advertising and marketing. Tickets go on sale typically toward the end of October or 1st of November for the concert series. So this year we're requesting an amount not to exceed $60,000, $20,000 per show for the 2-night shows each. We budget the $60,000 annually into the next year's budget, which is when we actually will receive the revenues from the ticket sales. And last year we sold $128,000 in tickets. We had a total expense of about $69,000, which resulted in about $31,000 of revenue exceeding expenses. And we use that money in our budget to help offset a lot of the other events that we do not generate any revenue through to provide for the community. So we're asking for an authorization of the mayor to enter into contracts up to $60,000 for next year's entertainment series.
Thanks, Grant. Any questions for Grant from anyone? Anyone in the audience? You've not announced who the performers are for this year yet?
They're in my pocket, but I was told not to reveal them until we have contracts signed. So,
Thank you.
okay, now we have a series of public assembly permit applications for your review. The first on the agenda is for the Meeting of the Minds. This is the Parrot Heads event that takes place each year. This year, the dates are October the 22nd through the October 26th. You'll recall last cycle we awarded or we approved assembly permits for the Skippin' and Sippin' race, which is part of this. Anticipating not needing to have a public assembly permit application because a predominant amount of use for this happens in and around the hangout, which is all on private property. However, we did get a request that 2 items be placed on public property. So tents placed on city property for registration and box office, which would be set up just outside the hangouts property. And the Gulf Shores Orange Beach Tourism would like to park their Welcome Center, which is their Welcome Center on wheels, very near the access gate into the back of the hangout courtyard. So if you look before you on the map, you see in the lower left-hand corner is the round circle. That's where they would like to put the tents for the box office. And then a little further up the page, the CVB van would be posted right there near the entrance into the Hangouts courtyard. This application has been reviewed by all city staff, and it's ready for your action and would be recommended for approval.
Is that the same location for the box office that we did last year?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Thought so.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Any questions for Grant? I go, yeah. Any questions for Grant on that application? Okay.
So next is a new event. Sunny 105 is hosting a walk, run, crawl Saturday, November the 15th at 2 p.m. from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. in the Waterway Village area. So before you on the screen is a rendering of the route that they intend to have this. And they're calling it a walk, run, crawl. It will be type of a race, but not really a formal running race. And the object of this event is to really bring awareness to Waterway Village so that the different businesses that are in that area will entertain people coming to their businesses. Starts on the green dot, which is the sloop, and it'll head to the east, and it'll go to Acme. It'll stop at Tacky Jack's. It'll cross over to the brewery. It'll come back and then go down the south side of the street by the ice cream shop and the Gulf Coast Arts Alliance building. And it's just an opportunity for people to get out and enjoy that district, if you will. We do know that there will be some construction going on, and so some signs have been requested with a sign permit. And if you look at the screen, you'll see the big red blob squares. Those are the locations for the recommended or the requested signage. It's been through our planning department. They're just small little real estate signs that will give people an understanding of how to get to the parking lot next to the sloop and be able to participate. This is also on the same day that the Gulf Shores Middle School is hosting their Dolphin Dash, which is in the morning, a run race at the beach. So it's a good opportunity for people if they want to go to the Dolphin Dash in the morning and support the middle school, and then head over to Waterway Village for the afternoon and participate in the crawl, walk, run. This has been reviewed by all departments with no challenges. They do not have their certificate of insurance yet, so should get it in time for your action next Monday. If we don't, we'll do it contingent. We'll request it being approved with condition of receipt of the certificate of insurance, which we'll be sure to get before they participate at their event. Happy to try to answer some questions.
And I know we're closing that intersection on the 13th, and that'll be open by then for sure. Any questions for Grant on this application? Anybody from the audience? Two more. I'll let you out of here.
Okay. Next is the annual Big Beach Marathon, Half Marathon Safari 5K. Slated to take place in January 24th and 25th. So they are actually, with both the days, there are different races. So the Safari 5K takes place on Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. And then on Sunday is the full marathon and a half marathon. Mike Clark is the producer, Junction 311 Sports, and they have for many years, I think this is probably year 6 or 7, that they have hosted and put on this event. The Safari 5K, if you look at the map and you start on the far right-hand side over at the Hangout, starts actually north of the Hangout by Elvins Island, north of Elvins Island, and then at the green dot, and then works its way west to 3rd, and then west over to West Lagoon Avenue, then loops around to 11th Street, then south to Beach Highway, and then makes its way back and ends at the Hangout. That's the Safari 5K race route on the Saturday. And then on Sunday, the screen before you is the half marathon starting at the Hangout, going up Highway 59, and it loops over right about Regions Bank where it gets into the backcountry trail system in the state park, rolls through the state park and exits out at Lake Shelby area back onto Beach Boulevard and goes across to the south side of Beach Boulevard and then ends at the Hangout. And then on that same Sunday, there's just a larger route, which is the full marathon, which is a full 26 miles. And that is basically the same route, just spends more time in the backcountry trail and then ends up at the Hangout for the after event. This has been approved by all parties. We've got their insurance and everything, so it's ready to go with a recommendation to approve.
Thank you, Grant. Any questions?
No.
One more.
The last one, and this is also the same organizer, which is why we're putting these together. This is actually in February of 2026. They want to go ahead and get these on the race calendar so they can start advertising and marketing and getting participants. So this is on February 14th of 2026, the Sea Turtle Half Marathon and Sweetheart 5K Run. It's a same route basically as the Safari 5K, but a little bit longer for the full half marathon. So you'll start near and around the hangout, you'll run out and then go west. This half marathon goes all the way to Laguna Key and then rolls back into the Golf Place area for the finish. And then the Sweetheart 5K, instead of starting on the north side, it starts at the hangout, rolls out of the Golf Place area over to West Lagoon Avenue, loops back around, and ends again at the hangout area. This application has also been reviewed by Police Department, Fire Department, Public Works, and all individuals, and it is ready to go with an approval recommended. Happy to answer questions.
Thanks, Grant. Any questions on that last application? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Yeah, as y'all heard, several of the items we had on the agenda tonight had grants attached to them, and Dan Bond, our grant writer, kind of works behind the scenes and under the radar often, but your efforts have brought the city probably more than $100 million in your tenure here, and I know others work on grants as well, and specific grants, but thank you for all your work in the grant department, Dan. Anyone from the audience have anything they'd like to address the council with tonight? If not, I know Mr. Corcoran has something to share.
Mayor Pro Tem, thank you, council members. It's always a pleasure to share what's going on at Gulf Shore City Schools. I'm going to try to do these in order so I don't miss anything. But Dr. Aiken couldn't be with us today because Captain Dylan Matthew Aiken of the Air Force Academy, who passed on the 30th of August, was laid to rest today at the Air Force Academy grounds at Colorado Springs, Colorado. So once again, we ask for prayers for the Aiken family and for the repose of his soul. Tomorrow is Tuesday tour at the elementary school at 9 o'clock. You can go to our website, gsboe.org, and sign up for that tour. If you want to see what's going on at the elementary school and get a hint of what the new high school is going to look like, you'll see that in our Collaboration STEAM Center as well. Wednesday is Fall Walk to School Day, Wednesday, October the 8th. Starts at 7:10 at Meyer Park. To my knowledge, we are the only school system in the state that has a daily walking school bus. Through a generous donation by Remax Paradise, that continues to go on. But we welcome anybody who wants to come join the children, and we'll meet at 7:10. We'll start walking at 7:15, and we'll walk from Meyer Park to the elementary and the middle school. And certainly everyone's welcome to attend that as well. Thursday will be our school board meeting in our Wave Center for Learning, which is at 1717 West 3rd. We no longer meet in this venue, but it's a wonderful facility. We'd like to have you all attend our board meeting, and we'll be announcing very soon an open house once that punch list is finished for that project. Thursday is 11:30 dismissal of the school for the fall break. Friday is no school. One of my missions as school board president was to make Locals Day at Shrimp Fest truly a Locals Day by not having school the next day, to have to get home by 8 o'clock or 8:30 to get your kids in bed for the following day. So it will be half a day Thursday and a full day off on Friday to enjoy the Shrimp Fest, the 52nd Annual National Shrimp Festival. And as we've been doing for the last several years, the Gulf Shore City school bus drivers will be providing shuttle transportation for people attending, with multiple shuttle sites that can be found on the Chambers and Shrimp Festival website. But we're pleased to have our drivers provide that service. And I know it came at a time when Bratz could no longer handle it, and we stepped in kind of in an emergency mode one year, but we've got it down to a science now, and we encourage people to ease parking down there by riding a shuttle and getting a ride in a cheese wagon. So with that said, any questions for the school system? Otherwise, thanks for your attention.
Busy week, a lot of good stuff leading into the Shrimp Festival. Thanks for all you and your board and your staff do for our school and our kids.
Did I mention that we play the Spanish Fort Toros,
Did not.
Mickey Miller Blackwell Stadium at 7 p.m. on Friday, looking to end a long-time winning streak they have over the Dolphins. But we're excited for the contest this Friday. Encourage folks to come visit Mickey Miller Blackwell Stadium. And remember that the home side is now on the west side. We moved so you don't have that sun in your eyes that first quarter. But go Dolphins.
Go Dolphins. Thank you, Kevin. That concludes our meeting. Appreciate everyone coming. We'll be here Monday to vote on most of these items that were presented tonight. Thank you.